Andrew, were you one of these sadists who enjoyed pre-season as a player? And do you enjoy it more now you can watch the players toil as you stand at the sidelines making notes?
Yeah, no, I'll be honest with you. I always enjoyed preseason. I just because I was one of these players that I did enjoy training. I'd say I probably was never the most gifted player, but I always based my sort of game off work ethic and competing and working hard. So I enjoyed the preseason training of competing with my teammates, in fitness drills, in when it comes to strength testing and all those sort of different things like that. So I really enjoyed preseason, and I know for not every player loves training. I get that. I mean, you get some players that they're not the greatest trainers, but geez, they can play, turn it on come game day, and it's not for everyone. And certainly as some guys get older, they get a bit over them because it can become quite monotonous type thing. So I get all that. I don't feel any sort of, like, I suppose what I'm saying is I don't sort of sit there when I'm watching a trade, laugh and thinking, look at these guys having a rip in. It's just, it's one of those. It's part of the process. You need to invest in your pre-season, and I'm a big believer in you get your pre-season right, it can really set up your season. I really do believe that. It's a real good opportunity to obviously not only from a physical point of view get their strength, their speed, their power, and their fitness levels up, but also to build those combinations and effectively sort of really start to work on how you want to look as a team, your brand of rugby, and how you want to create your identity as a team. It's all sort of, for me, built in that pre-season phase. So, unfortunately for us this year, we haven't had that luxury of having the full complement of players, all being fit and all being on that field together. But we still managed to to get our sort of principles across and our ethos across within the group in different ways. And so I do feel we will create an identity as a team, going forward. And I'm sure the fans will be able to see what we're built on and what we're about.
You'll have a feeling, of course, how close the players are to being ready. How close are you to being ready to lead in York into the new season?
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready. I'm a planner. I'm very organised, very meticulous in my preparation. Always have been. And as soon as I got the job offer, yes, it was a short turnaround to get things prepared. But luckily for me, because I'm always ahead of the game, or try to be ahead of the game, I guess. I already had sort of things in place ready for if and when that next sort of job came up. And so it wasn't a case of being flustered. I think I've only got 2 weeks now to put something together. I already had some sort of structure and framework ready to go, and it was just then trying to tweak it to the sort of playing group. And I made sure it spoke to every single player before I came in, so I could get a feel of where they were at, know a little bit more about that, and that helped as well, assist with my planning as well. So but no, I feel we're as ready as we can be, to be honest, Richard. I think we've done a pretty good job. We've been organised, we've been diligent in what we've done, and I think, to be honest, the playing group, I've got to give them a lot of credit. They've really embraced the new program. I think they've really delivered to a high standard, I believe, considering it's been a short sort of turnaround and a very sort of quick transition with a whole new sort of coaching team coming in, etc. So I feel we're as prepared, or as best prepared as we can be, considering the circumstances going into this season.
It seems that this might be just me paying more attention or not paying attention in the past, but it seems that more clubs are mentioning that they're having opposed training sessions in pre-season against other clubs.
Yeah.
What do you get out of those compared to a friendly in front of a crowd? What's the difference between the two?
Well, the difference between the two is obviously you're taking the risk element down of having a full contact game. You know what I mean? So that's one thing. Obviously, if you played 4 friendlies, and your risk goes up, doesn't it? That you're gonna pick up an injury or two. And I think, look, the reality is, well, Richard, why I think you're seeing a little bit more of clubs having these sort of opposed sessions is because they're operating with smaller squads. I think the fact financially, a lot of clubs are a little bit more hamstrung now in this day and age. So their squads aren't as big or as deep. So you don't have that luxury of being able to go 13v13 against your own team. Whereas probably a few years ago, a lot of squads were operating with sort of 32 to 35 players in their first team squad. So you had you had enough numbers, even if you did have a couple of injuries, because you traditionally are always going to have probably four to six guys out with injuries at any given time. You still had enough numbers there to go against each other at training, so you could facilitate that at training within yourself, and then obviously have your couple of friendlies off the back of that. Whereas at the moment, I think a lot of clubs don't have the bodies or the numbers to facilitate that at training. Hence why now they're building connections with other clubs and trying to facilitate it that way. And as I said, it just takes the element of risk away too, because it's not a full contact game. It's just an opportunity to go 13v13, so you can really have a look at your sort of attacking structure and systems, your defensive structure and systems, and see how they pan out against a different opposition who don't know what's coming either at you. So yeah, it's definitely a worthwhile exercise.
I think final one for me, being so close to the season, losing a player, is it hard to bring someone in? Is there many players out there on the market? I'm assuming agents were straight on the phone to you regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. The phone goes off pretty quickly. There's always somebody looking for a club. It's just, but again, it's just, I suppose the question is, Richard, is it the right player? You know what I mean? And what I mean by that, it's not necessarily just about the playing ability. They've got to be the right person as well that's going to fit in with the dynamic of this playing group and fit into what we represent and what we're about. So, I'm really big on that. We've got to get the right people in this environment that want to be part of this journey of where we want to take this club and this team, and they've got to be proud to play for York and want to play for York as well equally. So so there's a few things we have to consider before we bring people in, and we have a bit of a recruitment sort of policy around that now going forward. So we won't certainly be just rushing to bring anybody in to replace Brendan O'Hagan. It's got to be the right person who's the right fit for us. And like I mentioned, I've brought a trialist in yesterday who I think could fit that bill. So we'll just assess how that goes for the moment, and we may be able to facilitate that one moving forward. You're right. There isn't an abundance of players on the market at this time, and it's understandably so. But there are still a couple floating around. You tend to find a bit more will come on the market around that April time, Richard. Once sort of teams have got a little bit settled, they've had probably 6 to 8 games. The team settles, and then there's certain players that maybe aren't quite getting an opportunity, or become surplus to requirements for different reasons. You tend to find a little bit of more player availability on the market around that April time. So it may be that we have to wait till that sort of period before we can start to bring somebody in.
Well, always a big fan of seeing A and others on team sheets. So all the best for the weekend, and we'll catch up with you again soon. Thanks.
Good man, Richard. Thanks, buddy.